So he was going away for life. And he wanted to talk to this woman who's already married. She's married. She's moved on. Wants to have dinner with her to kind of, hash things out. And she's like, basically like, look, I'm going. Fuck my husband. I don't like, my husband feels the kind of way about it. Fuck him. I'm going. I don't care. I need this closure. Fuck him. And I'm like, ma'am. So there were some people in the comments that were like, listen, it's all about her and she needs this for herself. So why do you care? Because I care. And my concern would be, as if I was the husband in this situation, my concern would be, why would you marry me if you still need closure from a past relationship? And the first thing I thought of was like, this the dude you really wanted to marry. And I could be wrong. I could be like way off base with that. But that's the first thing I thought is like, yo, this is the person that she really wanted to marry. This is the person that she's never got over. This is who she's trying to be with. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Nicole?
Okay, so with the meme, it was a tweet. And so she was like, he's going away. I needed that closure. There was some very specific. Can you read it? Do you have it?
I'm trying to pull it up now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. Give me 1 sec. It is.
Specific that she said.
She said, my husband is throwing a temper tantrum because I had dinner with my ex, who is leaving for prison for the remainder of his life, and just wanted to apologize for any hurt he caused me and say goodbye. Boo, boy, boo. I needed that closure. Cry about it then.
Okay, so
it's the disrespect for me. It's the disrespect for me.
That's it. Like, for me, like, here's a lot of people in the comment section were like, and you said, closure, why would you marry someone if you still need closure? Or you still need an apology.
An apology.
She needed that. I think I don't think we go into marriage. I don't think we go into relationships completely healed of all things. And I also think that there are some things that can pop up. Like my ex, I told you all about my ex a few times in a couple other episodes. My ex from 23 years ago popped up. If you would have asked me before the day we talked, is there anything that you need to discuss with him? I'd be like, no, it's cool. That's so long ago. It's over. I don't have anything. There's nothing still there. There's nothing that I need to understand. It's finished. It's done. No hard feelings, yada, yada, yada. I was a child, basically, when we were together. But when we began to talk, it was like, yo, I didn't even know that these are things that needed to be discussed. So I do think, I don't necessarily think that, you go into, and I've had relationships and been in love since then, and this, that, and the third, and that didn't keep me from moving forward. But an apology is, if somebody has an apology from 20 years ago, I'm here to hear it. You know what I mean?
But do you need to go to dinner to hear that?
That's the thing. My issue in this situation is the callousness, period. Because everybody has their own relationship culture. If her man was like, go ahead, y'all go to lunch or dinner or whatever they want to do, that's on them. That's their relationship. But the callousness towards her husband, and the callousness towards him, his wishes and his reaction is my issue. And the fact that I'm reading it on Twitter. So now you're like, making him look like you're coming on Twitter. First of all, I'm reading it. I don't even know y'all.
I don't even know this. Why do I know your business?
You put your husband out like he's wrong. That's, to me, disrespectful. Coming to Twitter, to me personally, is disrespectful. You acting like his feelings don't matter is disrespectful.
Yeah.
And so all of that, that's my main issue. And if he said, I'm not comfortable with you talking to him on the phone, I don't care if it's a text message, an email, and this, that, and the third, then respect your husband, the man that did marry you, the man that you're supposed to be spending the rest of your life with. Like, just respect that. So on the one hand, the whole, well, why are you with somebody if you ain't got closure for blah, blah, blah. And closure is overrated, number one. Number two, I do think that there's sometimes things, there are people who have apologized to me after they were married. Like, you know what, I was jerk, or I was this, and I appreciated that apology. I appreciated the clarity. I appreciated someone coming back and saying, you know what, at that time and that space in my life, I was in this space and I was doing dumb stuff and I was young and I was blah, blah, blah. I appreciate that. I appreciated that. And that was cool. And I didn't know I needed that.
I feel
However,
like that's fair. I think that's fair.
yeah, but this situation is different to me.
She's married.
She's married and she's disrespectful to her husband, to me, in my opinion, because he feels disrespected. Now, if he was like, yeah, because some people, like, if I was married and my husband was like, yo, oh girl, about to go to the moon, Mars, where's Elon Musk sending everybody soon? I don't know, but like, she about to go away forever. She's about to go to prison. And she wanted, cool, because if you want to be with her, go be with her. You know, I'm not, I try to, in my relationships, not pretend like this person had no one and did nothing before they met. I mean, life happens. And
yeah.
If, you know, but I think my husband would be like, you coming with me? But I don't know that I care. Again, I'm not married though, and I'm not in this situation.
Again, it's the disrespect for me. It really is. It's
the callousness.
This isn't a partnership. That's how I would feel. This isn't a partnership at all. This is you doing what you want to do. This isn't a partnership. Fuck my feelings. Fuck how I feel. Fuck how I feel about it. But the fact that you need to see this person face to face is really interesting to me. Because again, if somebody wanted to call and apologize, that's fair. I feel like, again, somebody wrote in the comments, and I'm sorry that I missed who said it. They were like, that an apology after 20 years is for that person, not you. That's fair. That's some shit that you got on your chest. That's some guilt that since you've been unpacking, and I'm there. I'm there now. I put up a post earlier on Twitter, and I was like, it's nothing like seeing a healthy relationship. My best friend is very, very happy in his relationship, in his marriage, actually. It's nothing like seeing that, to realize how trash people have been to you in past relationships and how toxic you've been in past relationships. So like, I'm looking at that, like, and I'm like, I owe some people apologies. Not that Trash Your Piece isn't a reflection of that at all. Like, clearly I owe people apologies in life. But that is for me and my guilt. And if a person doesn't want to hear that, then cool. But I would also never go to a married woman, no matter if I was going in or not. I wouldn't go to a married woman and be like, yo, I need to see you to apologize to you face to face. Let's get dinner.
Yeah, that's dinner thing.
That's all kinds of boundaries. Like, that could have been, if it was at the park, I'd have been like, all right. If it was over coffee, maybe, all right. Look, that's still some boundaries. But I mean, we all know that dinner is very intimate. So like, that's bullshit. She wanted to see this person. She wanted to link up with him one more time. I ain't prepared to say they're going to do anything else, but I wouldn't be surprised. This is the person that either got away or she wished would have acted differently. That's how I feel about it. And for you to just be so flippant with your husband's feelings, with your partner. So if the roles was reversed, I'd be saying the same thing. With your partner's feeling, like, go cry about it. Wait, what?
That's so disrespectful. That's so disrespectful.
I'm from North. I can't wait to tell who the fuck is you talking to? I can't wait. That's always on the tip of my tongue. Who the fuck is you? Listen, that's the part that irked me. Like, you went, like, not only did you disrespect him face to face by telling him, I don't care about your feelings, I'm gonna do what I want to do, but then you went on Twitter to humiliate him. Boy,
yeah, that's grounds for people. I mean, like, to be, that is just, I feel like I have a lot of patience and understanding, and I try to get it, but there's just some things that
ain't no getting that one.
I was like, is this even real? I think I remember you sent this to me, and I think I've seen this before. I think I saw it like a year or two ago, and I was just like, is she for real? Like, is this a real person? Did this really happen? Because the amount of just complete and utter disrespect you have to have for your significant other or your husband to go online, or your wife or your girlfriend or your partner to go online and be like, this fool is acting mad because I went and said, nah, no ma'am, no sir, no, I wish that's it. Like, that's the end. If someone did that to me, if someone, we have this private conversation and then they go on social media, my significant other, and says, "Oh, you won't believe what she just did. She mad because," no, okay, you know what? You need to go ahead and
But also,
pack
like,
your stuff.
why don't you just cry about it? Like, who
Yeah,
says that? Who says that? Are we serious
right
right now?
But the thing about the 27 years, like I
Yeah.
said, in 23 years, my ex apologized to me, and I appreciated that apology. I mean, we actually apologized to each other.
Sorry,
And
Nugget just drooled on me. Ugh. This is about get out. Sorry. Get out.
yeah, he's like, no, I want to be on here.
Get out,
Um,
Nugget.
I don't personally think that there's an expiration date on apologies. But that's to
I
answer
agree.
his
I agree with that.
protocol. It depends, and it also depends on the situation. And I appreciated that 23 years later. We needed 23 years to have this conversation because there were a lot of things, college relationships, high school relationships. Those things happen in such a large bubble with a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And there was so much misinformation that both of us had that were just, well, such and such said this, and this person told me this, and just filling in the blanks, stuff that didn't even happen. Stuff that it was just like, well, he was like, who did what? You heard what? I was like, yo, I've spent 20 plus years. We met when I was 17. I've spent 20 plus years thinking that old girl did that. He was like, call her right now. I was like, but she never said it. I actually heard that from someone else. He was like, that never happened. Like, that was just, somebody just added that in. Anyway, in that situation in particular, we sort of like walked through some things, some untruths, like, well, because he actually went to prison. And I went to see him. I wasn't dating anyone at the time, though, but we had not talked in 3 or 4 years, and he went to prison. And I found out, and I did go see him before he left. But I wasn't in a relationship. I don't think.
Officially, B said, would you, I think this is a good point, a good talking point. Where's it at? Would you have preferred her not to say nothing to him, basically?
No, I think you should have.
Yeah, would you rather the convo take place without you knowing, rather? That's what it is.
No.
So, but I guess the point is, what does it matter? What does it matter if she, like, if I tell you and I don't give a shit what your response is, like, what's the difference? And you gonna do it regardless. So now you telling me just either way is disrespect. Like, it's wrong both ways. But like, ultimately, what is the difference? If I'm telling you, hey, this happened, I'm doing it, no matter how you feel. And if you feel some kind of way about it, cry about it. I don't care. I guess this disrespect. Why would you even tell him if that's if you're gonna do it? Why tell him? So I get why that would be something that somebody brings up. What's the point? Why would you tell him if you don't give a shit? That's interesting.
I thought they meant like tell them. And guys, you all can hit the question button at the bottom.
Please do.
If you have questions. But I think you should tell them because it's a discussion beforehand, not after the fact. Like, okay, hey, yo, my ex just popped up and is about to go to prison for the rest of their life, and they wanted to meet up. This is, the more we talk about this, the more outlandish this seems.
Yeah, it is.
And also, but you know, my perspective, I didn't have sex with my ex. Well, I didn't have sex with my ex. I didn't have sex with my ex. You know, and so sometimes my view is a little different than someone else who, you know, this was a sexual relationship. That sort of changes things sometimes for people.
Yeah, real quick. I am not sleepy. I just gotta look like Nicole is down there, so I'm not looking straight into the cameras. It look like my eyes are low, but I'm actually looking at Nicole and I'm reading questions and I'm reading comments. People are like, yo, wake up. I'm like, I'm not sleepy at all. I'm actually really amped. But like she's down there, and the stuff is scrolling down there too. So I'm not. If my eyes look low, it's because I'm doing that. I'm reading and I'm looking at Nicole at the same time. Bad Girl Deja said, when someone says they need closure from an ex, is it codependent healing? Take it away. I get drilled on me.
If someone says they need closure, yeah, I mean, you know what? Yeah, I think it is, because we cannot, the word closure within itself, you can't depend on someone else for your healing. I can't depend on, if I've done something to someone, a friendship or an ex, they can't depend on me to wake up 15 years from now or 30 years from now or 5 years from whenever I did it to come and save the day. So that is problematic. Now, saying that someone saying sorry 15 years later, my life isn't dependent on, my ability to move forward and have healthy relationships isn't dependent on an ex coming back and saying sorry. If, oh boy, never came back, I can still function and have happy, healthy relationships and this, that, and the third, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I don't need someone to come and tell me sorry, or need someone to come and at the expense of my current relationship. Like, F you, forget you, I'm going to get this, because that's what she said. F, forget you, I'm going to get this apology. I deserve this apology at the expense of her husband. That's wild. So I agree with Bad Girl Deja, or I don't know if that was the question. Yeah, it is sort of a codependent, like, you cannot, people will leave this earth, literally. And if you're waiting for an apology and then they pass on, then what? Like, you can't depend on other people for
The
your.
one thing I realized with my last relationship, and again, I haven't been in a relationship, it'll be 4 years now. And Nicole, you've gone through some of this process with me and seen me kind of grow as a friend through this process. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever received is that you have to accept an apology that may never come.
Amen.
And you have to forgive somebody who may not deserve it. And they're both processes, but that work is for you. That's one thing I realized. Like, the shit got too heavy for me to carry. This ain't about you. Like, I don't forgive her for her. I forgive her for me. I've accepted an apology that's never come, not for her, for me. Like, that's a big thing about closure. So somebody said it doesn't take two hands to close the door. It doesn't take two people to close the door. They're right. You got to do that work yourself. And that's why I'm thinking, like, this is more than just about the apology with this tweet. And again, it could have just been her flexing for the gram, flexing for Twitter, whatever. But if she's married, this seems like, to me, and again, I could just be reading way too deeply into this. This seems like this is the person that you actually want to be with. You said yes to another dude for the sake of saying yes, and now you're punishing that person for not being who you really want them to be. And you see that a lot in relationships. Somebody will settle for somebody that they think may be a good person, but they don't want to actually be with them. She's a good woman. He's a good man. On paper, we look good. This person really loves me, but you don't really love them. You may love how they make you feel. That's not love. You may love the things that they do for you. That's not love. You may like who you are around them. That's not love. That's not you loving them. So when it comes down to it, you're gonna resent them for things that they don't have nothing. There's nothing they can do about it. You're resenting somebody for not being the person you want them to be, and that's how it reads to me. That's how I looked at it. I'm like, she's mad at her husband for no reason. Her husband is just like, hey, listen, I have feelings. This is how I feel about a topic. I have feelings. I am human. And she's like, fuck your feelings. Go cry about it.
Trash. That was
so trash. How you love anybody? How you love anybody and to be like, fuck your feelings? Let alone your husband, your wife, your life partner.
Partnership or not?
Your other half, you like, fuck you. Who does that? Who says that?
Right. Right. I mean, that's it. It's like, is this your partner? Is this your friend? Like, why would you? This is so bizarre. And plus, I think the word closure means different things to different people.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Closure doesn't have to be, let me see. I don't think closure is overrated. This is Cole Land, 1908. I do believe that closure is an exercise for yourself, and an ex can't give you closure. Agreed.
So with that definition and in that context and framing, I agree 100% is not at all overrated. Like that level of closure, because that level of closure to me is healing. That's like the actual closing of a wound and you stitching it up. That's you did that. You weren't waiting for somebody else to come along, but like, I'm still hurting, stitch this up. You did that. Like, no, I need to heal. Let me throw some motherfucking, let me throw some Neosporin on this joint, whatever. That was you. So I agree with that framing of the word closure. I think when we're talking about, when I say closure is overrated, it's like getting it from somebody else.
Yeah, and I think, and like I said, it's not. I think life happens and things happen, and like I said, it wasn't like I was complete. I had no clue that a conversation with my boyfriend when I was a teenager, the teenager and into my early 20s, was something that would be like fruitful or helpful, but it was. But again, I didn't need that to live. I didn't need that to survive.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that stuff was there. But it did happen, and I'm single and I'm not married. But would I sit on the phone with him for 5 hours if I was married? No.
Boom. That's the thing. Like, there's boundaries.
There are boundaries. And
you didn't, again, you were able to set your boundary. You know what I mean? You were comfortable with staying on the phone as long as possible. You felt safe. It was on the phone. You weren't trapped in a restaurant. You weren't trapped in a car. You felt safe. We can talk all day. You had the autonomy and freedom to hang up whenever you wanted to.
Whenever I wanted to see
them. So you felt safe, and it was for you.
Yeah, he asked to meet, and that's the one. But that's the one that's living. He has his own place. Him and his wife are separated. But if he was living in the house with her and he wasn't separated, I wouldn't talk to him that long either. But I'm never going to meet up with him because you're still legally bound to someone. And that's just me. That's my preferences. I mean, everybody's different. Like, he's different. He was like, we ain't together. We can meet up. Let's meet in a different. It was like, nah, dog, I'm good.
As a woman, is there a way that you could have? Okay, let's keep this same example. Is there a way that if this was you and you actually wanted, if you were her and you actually wanted to see this person before you may never see them again, is there a way that you could have did it without the disrespect? Is there any way she could have done this, gotten what she wanted without disrespecting homie?
No, because I think it has to do with the individual, because every man wouldn't find it disrespectful. It has to do with my partner and who I'm with and the level of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get to choose what my partner feels is disrespectful.
Okay, well said.
So so if they say I'm not comfortable with you, and I wouldn't go to dinner, I wouldn't do that, but if they say I'm not comfortable with you doing XYZ, then they're not comfortable with me doing XYZ. There's no way for me to spin it. Are you comfortable with this? How about if it's lunch? How about if it's this? Unless you're just going to bring him with you.
And I'm quite sure, here's the kicker, I'm quite sure that she's probably vented to her husband about this guy at some point. So then you add that on top of it. Because we be pillow talking, and your currents be knowing about your ex, and somebody did you dirty, and when who you dealing with really felt the type of way about which person in their past, you know that. So it could have been a thing like, I think we're taking that out of it. If you know that this person really hurt you, or they were disrespectful to you, or they would put hands on you, and like, I don't want you around him, and it's not even it might not be a jealous thing. Is I don't want you nowhere near, boy. No, fuck that nut ass dinner. Fuck that nut ass closure. No, why do you still need that? So there's like there's a protector thing, but it's also like a feelings thing.
Yeah. Some people need to hear apologies in order to heal, even if you moved on. But I agree that doesn't need to be face to face. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. Look at this. I'm talking to Vision right now. We don't have to.
They couldn't FaceTime? They couldn't FaceTime. You couldn't duo?
We don't have to be at our favorite restaurant from back when we were dating.
Yeah. Y'all about to be up in the old school restaurant with Keith Sweat playing, trying to make it last forever again. Yo,
so
bro,
bizarre.
get the fuck out of here with that. He trying to get laid before he go back to before he go to jail. He
But
trying to
that's
get laid.
that's a little like even when I went to go see my ex before he went to prison, I knew someone would think that it's been so long. My brother actually, he was like, I went with you. I took my little brother with me.
Mm.
I took my little brother with me when I went to go see him. So I just wanted to like, and again, we had not talked. He had 2 kids. He was doing all kinds of stuff. He was out here. When I say he was, browning it up, I mean he was killing the game, which is I went to prison.
Somebody said
But
that
I
in
was
a comment. Somebody said their husband would have had to go on. Educated Ivy said, "My man got to be able to come." Why? Yeah.
oops.
So was that an option? Was that an option?
I don't know if it was an
Did you need closure by yourself, or can your husband go with you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the only thing that I can think of is if he was like, "I'll go with you." Yeah, I took my brother, and I took my little brother, and yeah, I took my little brother,
Ace
and
of
I
the
and
world. Ace of the world said, "When is it okay to go against what your spouse says in a marriage? How do you do it respectfully?" I think Nicole nailed that shit. I think you nailed that answer. There's really no way to do that
yeah,
respectfully.
unless it's something. I mean, again, every relationship has its own company culture. If it's something like when where did the question go? Wait.
It was. I just put up another one, but it was basically you already answered that question. But is again, is there a way like when is it okay to go against what your spouse
Well,
wants?
I think there are times when it is okay. I mean, when your health is in danger, your life is in danger, your children. If they're saying something that is completely, a job. I mean, that gets into. I think that there's levels to this. This
No.
is this is here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is basic to me. Your husband does not. I just can't even imagine my mama talking about. I mean, I don't even want to say it out loud because I feel like it's disrespectful to my father. I feel like he would just appear and be like, "What?" I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But there are times when in a relationship or in a marriage when you all might not agree, and it's really yeah. Of course, there's times when you can. You and your spouse might not agree. It may be the
Yeah.
end of the marriage, but it's not like you're beholden to. But this is beholden to the whim of another person just because you're married. Like if I'm offered a position, a great job, bloop, bloop, amazing. It's my career. This is what I've been doing. You married me knowing this is where I'm going in my career, and then you like, psych, nah. I know when we got married, I knew this is what you were gonna do, but I've changed my mind. That gets into sticky territory. So I'm not saying that you're not a slave just because you're married. Okay.
So Charcoal Truck, your question got cut off. Like the good part toward the end got cut off. I'm sorry, I don't know why it does this. But it says the assumption is that there is only a need for closure from a past relationship. Have you guys considered his wife may have been? So like if you could add the second part of that, we'll totally get to that question. I'm sorry, my bad. It's an Instagram thing, bro. Um, there was another one. I'm gonna try to read it off here. So the question is, and I'm gonna post it in a second. Um, I believe you obtain closure from within. Do you guys have examples to do so other than therapy?
I think that in my experience, and this is something that when we went on Clubhouse, and a friend of mine got on the stage, and he was like, every single night, I had to get to the point in my life as a grown man where I had to be bare bones honest with myself about the day. This is what keeps me married. This is what keeps him married. This is what keeps him from cheating. This is what keeps him from, like, yo, this conversation that I had with this chick at work, was it slightly too close to being over the line? Deal with that, like right now, today, not 2 weeks from now, not 3 weeks from now. Like, let's deal with this in my mind right now. I think being honest with yourself, I think journaling is really important, because I had a whole relationship and I journaled the beginning of it. It was trash in the beginning. But like, I stopped journaling, I stopped being honest, and I just was along for the ride. So I think if I think some closure comes when we get rid of the over romanticized version of whatever it is we're clinging to, whether that be a relationship with a romantic partner, whether it be with a family member, whether it be with a job that, an opportunity that we lost. Like,
Yeah.
can we trim the fat? I'm always talking about trimming the fat. And trimming the fat means getting down to the bare bones of the situation. Because again, I think a lot of the stuff that we need closure from isn't even real. We're trying to get closure from things like a mirage. The relationship wasn't that great. You hated going to that job. You know what I mean? Maybe this thing that has ended, maybe them firing you or this breakup, this is a gift because you wouldn't do it for yourself. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be? And so that is, to me, outside of therapy, outside of any type of therapy, like energy work, I'm a big fan of the healing codes and stuff like that. But outside of that is just being real with yourself. Because I think a lot of the stuff that we can't seemingly get over, isn't even based in reality. Like, write down really 500 Days of Summer, excellent movie. And I think that is a beautiful portrayal of the truth about relationships. Because he was holding on to the pieces of this relationship when during that 500 days of that relationship, there was a lot of trash, tons of trash, more trash than good. But he had over romanticized those moments.
Yeah.
And forgot that the relationship sucked. I mean, it really sucked. Like, it's bad.
I think for me, and again, I'm not an expert, so I can just say what would work for me. I had to spend a lot of time alone. I've always been a super social person. And within the last few years, I've become very, very, like, a hermit, basically. But I needed that time to really have honest conversations with myself. Who am I? Outside of any accomplishment, outside of any piece of paper, who are you? What do you like? What are you into? And so I had to, number one, I think Nicole brings up a really good point, to see things for what it was. I had to grieve a person that I lost. Two people that I lost. Number one, the person that I was in love with, she had metaphorically died a long time ago. She was no longer, the person that now has that body is not the person I was in love with. So I had to mourn that person. I had to grieve the person that I was in love with, who is no longer here. So I literally grieved her as if she died, because she did. The second person I had to grieve was myself. I had to grieve the former person that I used to be. And that sucked because I really liked that person. I really liked the younger version, rather, of Vision. But what came after that was trying to love the new version of me. And now I'm there. I fucking love me. I love who I've become. I really do. And it was a labor of love. It took a long time because I was trying to hold on and let go at the same time. And that don't work. Can't hold on and let go at the same time. I think that's another thing we talk about closure. You pretend like you moved on, but you've been really clinging to shit in the past. You can't hold on and let go at the same time. So I had to grieve the former version of myself. That dude was dope. He had a lot of great things that happened in his life. But then I had to come to love the new version of me and be okay with that. And I just kept saying over and over again a little quote from Game of Thrones. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know this scene. It's a really famous scene. Jon Snow was talking to Maester Aemon, and Maester Aemon's like, kill the boy and let the man be born. And that's how I felt. I had to let the older version of myself go, and then let the new version of myself be born. Because while that was happening, while the new version was trying to be born, and I was holding on to the other one, I wasn't moving. I was in like purgatory. There was nothing that was happening in my life because that's gone, and you ain't letting this be born. So you in this state of nothingness until you're ready to move on. So that was a big thing for me, learning to love this new version of myself. And Nicole's seen a lot of this. I love nature. I be at the beach. I cook damn near every night. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but I like this guy. You know what I mean? I like this guy a lot. Where did he come from? So you got to give yourself grace. And that's a big thing. You got to give yourself grace too. You got to forgive yourself, because that's like, forgiving other people is really easy, but forgiving yourself is so difficult sometimes. And I'm rambling, and I want to get to these last couple of comments because we're running low on time. We're at 53, and we got a hard cutoff at an hour, unfortunately. So the Sunkiss said the situation was about the dude going to jail. Do you think it's more about saying goodbye rather than closure? You can say goodbye on the phone. But we gotta go to dinner. And I think the other question I got cut off. He was saying, what if it's something more than just a breakup? It was something traumatic like abuse or sexual assault. We gotta go to dinner for that.
I think, you know what? I'm glad that the person before just said what they said about just seeing them again, because again, I was about to say his name. What can we call him? Anyway, the guy, my ex. Again, we hadn't talked in years. Life had went on, but I did want to see him before he went. I did want to see him in the flesh before he went to prison. I had no clue what was going to happen. So I do see, I can get with the person that asked about that, where they're coming from, because let's say this was a person she was with for 15 years or 10 years, or they were engaged, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and it ended because it needed to end. But I think and this is a whole nother discussion for another day, I do think we have a throwaway culture. Like, you have these people in your life who, like when my grandmother passed away, I called all of my exes. Because these are the ones that, and I don't have a ton, but the ones that had interacted with her, they knew her. They had spent time in her own home. They ate her food. And so I thought it was important for me able to, this is a person who impacted your life in some way, shape, or form. So I don't believe my exes are people who I was actually friends with. But her husband said no. So there's that. That's that. But I do understand wanting to see someone, hug someone when they're going to go. I mean, it's not like she's going to be visiting him in prison. But I still think this was just so disrespectful. But I understand what you're saying. I mean, that's a question.
And I think it's a good question, but also it's like, do we need to go to dinner? That can be a FaceTime, that can be a phone call. Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, the whole dinner thing threw me off. There's no need for us to go on a date. This is not. And then again, she was disrespectful on top of that. So again, I don't have an issue necessarily with her. So I think if we're itemizing this, if we're compartmentalizing this, I think a lot of people are like, well, what about like closure is important? And I feel like this is just my opinion. I'm not saying it's stupid or anything like that. It's just overrated for me. But I understand people needing it. But do you need to go to Del Frisco's for that? I'm curious. Can you not just do that over the phone?
Yeah.
Do we need to be in front of each other? Why do you need to see my wife? Why do you need to go out with my wife? I'm sorry.
That's real. I Am TL Man said, people have to be honest about what still affects them, even if they are with their next person. Just because a relationship ended doesn't always mean the person's effect or attachment is gone. There you go. And that's where the honesty comes in. I just feel like people are inherent, so they lie to themselves on a regular basis. I feel like we lie to ourselves on a regular basis, and then we wonder why. Just be honest. And I prefer my partners to be honest. I don't like if a partner brings up.
Oh no, did we lose her? We got to the finish line and we lost her. Oh my God. Yeah, you're in the circle. No, we have 2.5 minutes.
Did you lose me? Who are you talking about?
We lost you for a second.
Oh, I was like, who did we lose? I'm like, looking. Okay. But anyway, this was great. Guys, thank you for sticking in there with us through all the technical difficulties.
Yeah, tonight was nutty. But it was still a really good conversation. I think it was a worthy conversation. Yeah. So the way this is gonna come out, I'm gonna take off the first bit we were talking about trash the piece and just repost this entire conversation. It should be dope. Leave a comment, share, please share, please share, please share. And we'll be back next week at 9:15 on Monday with another topic. And again, shoot us topics if you have one that we want to discuss, you want us to discuss. Please leave a matter of fact. Let's do like a Q&A during the week. Let's put a question up in the middle of the week on our story to see if people have topics for us. Let's do that. You with it?
Yeah, I'm with it.
You don't seem too enthused, Nicole.
Huh?
You don't seem too enthused.
Oh yeah, I'm with it. I was just thinking about somebody was like, can you just restart another live? Call it something else.
Yeah. I think you and I could go. We could do an entire live about like healing, things that we've done to heal. I think that'd be really dope too.
Yes, that was great.
Yeah.
And I like being on the front porch. This is cool.
This is a really good background for you. But we are against the clock. I am VisionPoet. This is Nicole Michelle, aka Sin of Being Single. We will see you next week. Follow if you're my follower, please follow Sin of Being Single. If you're a Sin of Being Single follower, please follow me. And we will be back next week.